Alright, I am here today to talk about an effective killing machine called the Measles Virus. So first I'm going to give some base information on the Measles Virus. So the Measles Virus is a very deadly disease, and it is a respiratory disease. The Measles Virus actually sits within your throat and in your lungs, and the host cell which it connects to is the dendritic cell, which is in your lungs and your throat. So, this disease has killed over 2.7 million people, but we do now have a vaccine for it, which is very useful, and it has actually reduced the chance of getting measles by 86%. So, first off, let's start out with symptoms and treatments. So, let's start out with how you can actually get it. So the way you get measles virus or measles, is it is an airborne disease, and you can get it by having someone sneeze on you or cough on you, and if they have measles, those viruses can stay in the air, and those viruses can actually stay in the air for over 2 hours. So when those viruses are in the air and then you inhale them and they go into your lungs, then you have an issue. So first let's start out with some symptoms. So first off, the symptoms don't usually occur till 10 to 12 days after you've had measles in your body. But some of the symptoms include sneezing, coughing, runny nose, sore throat, fever, itchy eyes, and the most common, red blotchy skin, as seen in these pictures. Rip that kid, that's unfortunate. And the kid's back. So, once you have that, you can usually have them for around 7 to 10 days, the symptoms. It's not a good disease. It keeps you out of school or out of work for at least a week, usually. But the treatments there is no antibody, so once you get it, the only thing you can do is really take over-the-counter medicine for your exact symptoms. But if you get the vaccine, you have a 15% chance of actually getting measles. And it's so uncommon today that the chance is really probably about lower than 15. In this picture, so these are all the countries These are all the countries who had the vaccine, and the dark blue is 90% have had the vaccine, and these lighter blue areas are right there, and it's 70 to 80%, and then right in here, these really light blue areas have had less than 70%, so about 40 to 60, and then up here, there's no data on that. And then there is no red. So everyone in the world pretty much has been exposed to the measles vaccine. So it's very uncommon to get today. But back before the 2000s and the 20th century, it was a very deadly disease and killed, like I said, over 2.6 million people. But as of 2016, it's killed 89,780 people, which, if you compare that to 2.6 million, is definitely better. So let's talk about the actual parts of the virus. So this is a 3D model I made of the virus. And to start out with, you have these attachment proteins, which are the things that actually attach to the dendritic cell, the host cell, and can actually cause the virus. I'll talk about reproduction in a second. Hold on. And then this is the genome, or genome strands. So a virus can either be DNA or RNA. A measles virus is RNA. So these would be RNA strands. Right here. These are the things that hold the virus's genetic code, or not genetic code, but the things that give it bad, pretty much. And then right here, this thing right here acts as a helmet for all these proteins and RNA inside. And these right here are the RNA, as I said, and this acts as a helmet to protect it, like if you were riding a bike, so you don't fall off. And RNA actually stands for ribonucleic acid. So you also have, this outer layer right here is, like I said, like the helmet, but this inner layer is the matrix protein. It's just another protein. Viruses are full of protein. So that's pretty much the overview of the virus. Now let's start off as how it can reproduce and actually how a virus does reproduce. There's two types of cycles for a virus. There is the lysogenic cycle and the lytic cycle. So the measles virus starts out as a lysogenic cycle. So it goes in your body, it attaches to a host cell or multiple host cells, which would be unfortunate for you, but that's alright. And then it goes in, it hacks the cells, and it tells it to make its own parts. So it makes its own parts repeated and repeated, and it stores them in that cell. And after about 10 to 12 days, it becomes the lytic cycle. So those virus parts, like let's say, hold on. Alright, let's say these are all the virus parts, these little, oh dear, these little fluff balls, I got like 4 of them. These fluff balls are the parts, and so they're in this cell, and then when the lytic cycle starts, they literally like form into a virus. Let's say all 4 makes the virus. That's not real, but let's go. So it would literally burst out of the cell, and now you have these viruses just floating around in your body, and that's where it becomes very dangerous. So that's how it reproduces and becomes harmful. But it's usually only harmful to little kids, usually from the age around like 1 day old to 5 years old, or to older people. As your immune system grows from like 5 years old and on, you're pretty good, especially if you get the vaccine. Just make sure you get the vaccine, because that would be very helpful. And also, just like a friendly reminder, measles isn't just like a rash. It's actually dangerous and can cause serious death or harm. So, thank you for listening to me talk for 8 minutes about a virus that I had to do for a project.